Hey guys, Chris here from the AMP Life. In today's video, I'll be talking about the 4 key aspects of improving my quality of life, my overall way and standard of living as an amputee.
If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide.
Alright, so this morning I went for a walk, quite a long hike with my prosthetic leg. More about that on our next video. And the plan was to film the hike, to show you guys how I go uphill, downhill, uneven terrain, etc. And that is something I'll definitely still do. But it is 40 degrees down here in South Africa at the moment. It's been that hot the whole week. The heat is exhausting. So I figured I'd rather get inside in an air-conditioned space and have a conversation with you before I fall over dead, which I really don't want to do. Let's talk about 4 aspects that need to come together to expand my quality of life and my life experience. So what I've done is I'm going to list each 4 of them individually, but I've put them on a chart. I'll show you all 4 and I've put them in a chart to illustrate to you guys what I mean. So if you take a look at this, I've got a circle here, which to me represents quality of life with 4 quadrants. And in the areas on the axis, we have health, as you can see. I have the time aspect, I have attitude, and I have gear. I'm sorry about this, it's a bit floppy, but I hope you guys can see what I'm on about here. And what I'm going to suggest in the little talk today is that all 4 of these aspects need to come together. That initially the circle is going to be quite a little smaller, so the QOL, the quality of life circle, and in time we'd like to expand and increase our health, of course in relation to the disability. We'd like to, as time goes along, make use of all that experience. We'd like to adopt an attitude that'll be helpful as an amputee and just overall in living well. And we'd like to make sure that we get the right gear. And I'm going to be talking now about the aspects of each one of these that'll make it all come together. All right, so let's take the first. I'm going to start from the what I think is the most important aspect of the 4 and work it down to so number 1 to 4. As far as I have learned, the number 1 aspect is health. Think about that. If I'm in poor health, I have nothing. All the best gear, all the time, the best attitude will be meaningless. So my first priority is to recover as quickly as possible after the amputation, and to from there improve my health. And what I mean by health is the 2 aspects of health, both emotional as well as the physical aspect of our health. I need to take into consideration age. For example, I'm getting older, and as I grow older, my abilities will diminish, and I need to make provision for that. I also mean that a part of my health is that I need professionals to help me. Maybe a physiotherapist. I need it maybe for emotional health, a counselor to help us get through it. We might need to see a chiropractor from time to time to straighten out the spine and to help us deal with deviations, postural deviations. And I think an important aspect is to remain supple. In other words, to do exercise conducive to keeping the body supple and preserving the joints. I think swimming is a really good sport. I think yoga could be really important. I think Pilates, for example, would be really helpful. So overall, to get the body up to a certain condition, to find ourselves conditioned, especially bearing in mind that it comes from a position of being an amputee, and the 2, to sustain as much as we possibly can relative to age, how healthy we are, and then to make sure as we become less physically able, the older we get, that we make provision and that we plan for how we're going to live as aging amputees. One aspect of health that I need to almost set apart or bring as a separate is how important my prosthetist is in terms of how healthy I am, and in particular stump health. I've been an amputee now for 15 years. This is the 15th year, and most of the problems I've had to do with stump health. The multiple operations that I've had, the infections that I've had, it's just really compromised my quality of life. And everything changed when I found my prosthetist. When Eugene came into my life, really so much changed. He managed to put the right socket together, and we'll get to the components, and from there I was able to improve my health and get to the space today where I'm able to hike, walk up mountains, and make the videos to share with you guys. Number 2 is attitude. And I think what's important to consider there is that my disability is my responsibility, that it is a reality in my life that I need to deal with, that if I pass the responsibility for my well-being as an amputee onto someone else, in other words, if I either blame or I suggest that somebody else needs to do something in order for me to have a better life, I put myself at a terrible disadvantage. Because what I'm in fact suggesting is that when somebody else does something differently, or is more helpful, or is kinder to me, or more empathetic to me, or then I can have a better life as an amputee. And that is becoming a hostage to external circumstances. I also think it's really important to become intentional about what I want as a part of my attitude, is to have an intent as to where I'd like to go. I think that to be vague, to go, well, I'll be an amputee, and I'll kind of, that I really need to be intentional to say what I'd like to do is I'd like to row, for example, or I'd like to write or make movies, but to be sure to fill my time with new hobbies or new aspects of life that I can embrace as an amputee. I also think that two hugely important parts of an attitude is to be patient and gratitude. In my instance, if I think of the accident that I had, the paragliding accident, that I'm not dead or in a wheelchair is nothing short of a miracle. So I hold a lot of gratitude for the truth that I'm not dead or not paralyzed. And that gratitude is something I'm reminded of every day when I get out of bed and I'm able to put on my prosthetic leg and get on with my life. And finally, an important part of attitude is to be able to ask for help and to accept help. If I had asked for help earlier on in my disability and accepted people into my life, for instance, support groups, family, and allowed them to help me, I think I would have avoided a lot of the problems that I experienced for longer than a decade in my early years of being an amputee. Okay, the third aspect is gear. So it's a truth that in prosthetics, more is more. Unfortunately, the adage that less is more doesn't apply here, that the right gear can make a huge difference in how I improve my quality of life. I'm not suggesting that less expensive or inexpensive prosthetics can't allow me to enjoy life or have quality of life, but it is a truth, and I've learned over time that spending a little more, acquiring the right equipment, and going to the right prosthetist, who might cost a little more, in the long run is absolutely worth it. It amazes me, for example, that one could spend an excess of money on cars or go on extended trips, when in fact we can take all that money and put it in proper prosthetics, which is one of the 4 big contributors to quality of life as we're seeing. Ever since Ossur has come into my life and I've managed to start wearing the Ossur RHEO XC and the new PROPRIO foot, that is what I wanted to make the video about this morning. I have this amazing ProFlex LP foot, which in itself is a fantastic foot, and I thought it would be all that I ever needed, and was fortunate enough on Friday to be fitted with the new Ossur PROPRIO foot. And this PROPRIO, in conjunction with my Ossur RHEO XC, is such a phenomenal combination, and added, combined with the socket, overall is such a phenomenal combination and has made such a big difference to my quality of life. So what I'm suggesting is set aside some of the other luxuries that we might acquire and take that money and put it in decent prosthetics and prioritize that aspect of our lives. And the fourth aspect is time as an amputee. The more experience I gained, the more research I did, and I think research is such an important part of becoming an amputee. It's something I can do before the amputation. If I'm an elective amputee, certainly a lot of research right after amputation and ongoing throughout. And I acquired my knowledge from you guys, from YouTube, from blogs, from support groups, by speaking to other people, by keeping notes, for example. So in other words, over a period of time, is to accumulate as much knowledge as possible and to be able to use that knowledge and apply it in how I live as an amputee. Okay guys, so as you can see, as these 4 aspects that I pointed out earlier on and that we've just gone through, as they all come together and we expand the circle and improve our health as time goes by through experience and knowledge, as we adapt our attitude because we learn more and we learn to, I think, have a better relationship with reality. And as I'm able to adjust my gear, acquire the right gear and build a relationship with the prosthetist, I can expand this circle, and the idea is to get it as wide as possible, and as I think it represents I call it the quality of life circle. I hope that you guys have learned something, today, and I hope that you find it helpful. And if you have any comments about this, please put in the comment section below. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. If there's anything that you'd like to know, that you'd like me to share with you, I'll bring it in future vlogs. And if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. Okay guys, I'll see you in the next one where I'll be showing you how I walk with my new prosthetic setup. See ya. Ciao.